Okay, guys, welcome back to yet another episode of Everything Everywhere All at Once. And the last episode, we were talking about justice and how we have to accept that we're never going to have a completely fair and equitable resolution to what goes on in our lives and our world. And we have to change the way we look at things. Instead of a world of crime and punishment, we need to get into a world of law and order. And that Everything Everywhere All at Once, all its origins were in how do we create certainty and meaning in all the chaos and mayhem. And there's certainly plenty of that going on right now. And it's becoming more and more difficult to resolve things in a just way, right? So we talked about that. And of course, we've been using as the central point the wars that are going on in the world, of which there are 32. And of course, the one that's at the forefront of our mind is what is going on in Palestine, right, in Gaza, between the Israelis and really Hamas, but the Palestinians are in the way, and all these other countries that are all involved, and these are proxies really for a much bigger picture. And this is a microcosm of what is going on in our world and our lives. And it's a outward expression of an internal war that's going on within us, a spiritual war. Kind of like when a caterpillar goes into a cocoon and begins to become a butterfly. It starts to create within its body something called imaginal cells, which are the first cells of the butterfly. But the immune system of the caterpillar tries to destroy the cells of the butterfly, the imaginal cells. But little by slow, these imaginal cells create clusters. And then the clusters begin to come together. And ultimately, the imaginal cells overwhelm the immune system of the caterpillar, and hence, we have a butterfly. And so we're going through that phase ourselves right now. We're recognizing that justice in a judicial system, a system of crime and punishment, is actually part of the problem, right? It creates wars, and that causes destruction. So when we try and create justice, and here we have an Israeli lady who's also Palestinian. Yeah, and that happens. That's a fact. There are people who live in Israel, who are Palestinian, and Palestinians who live in Israel, and people are married to people from these different cultures. How do you separate that? You can't, right? What happens is we end up in a world of martyrs who died for the cause. Unfortunately, though, what they really died for was for peace. And that doesn't happen. And so very often, their lives are lost in vain. And then other martyrs have to follow until we make those who died in these wars that are going on right now martyrs for peace. That these are the last people that have to die. And that their lives have phenomenal, powerful meaning. And they become the greatest heroes ever because they were the cause of peace. Wouldn't that be a great way to remember them, right? So we need to create a world of law and order. So what happens is when these atrocities occur, we get into our emotion, which is natural, right? Emotion is primal, right? So it's motion, energy in motion, right? So the primal energy that we go into when we feel under attack is anger. We want to retaliate, so retaliation. We want retribution for what happened because we've been hurt. We want other people to understand our pain, and those who perpetrated, the perpetrators, they need to feel the pain that we did, because how is it fair otherwise? And we want revenge. But those are primal, instinctive emotions. Feeling. If we add thought to emotion, we get a feeling. But if we add a thought to a primal emotion like anger, resentment, hatred, what are we going to get? It's going to exacerbate the problem, right? And we can live our lives, the rest of our entire lives, and for generations, we can live in thought and emotion, keep reconnecting to those emotions, thinking about it, and reliving the same circle. It's circular, right? We exacerbate the problem. We become furious in fury. It's circular. It destroys families. You can have lifetime feuds and, of course, wars. It fuels hatred, right? So is there a better way? No, but it's a way. Yes, there's a better way, right? So when we use our heart and our thought, we temper the emotions. If we breathe into our heart and look at the situation through our heart, what do the ancients say? Live from the heart, speak from the heart. If something is true, it will be heartfelt because it's vibration, right? We're starting to move into a vibratory world instead of a mind-driven world. When we focus on feelings of what? Peace, love, compassion, right? When you start to feel those in your heart, you can't feel hatred. You can feel sad, but you can't feel hatred. Then you start to move into coherence. And coherence is when you are in alignment, in sync with your heart and intuition. It's not a sleepy feeling. It's not a weak feeling. It's a very wide awake feeling. And the best way to describe it is like being in the zone. You've been there, right? Especially if you're an athlete. Suddenly you just break into a sense that even the biggest crowd can be sort of outside your vision, outside your awareness. You know, there's a great scene in the movie Field of Dreams when the players would come on the field and they were outside of reality. So look, heart and thought will give you temperance. It allows you to access your understanding, compassion, because you're going to be outside of that realm. You're going to be what we call, and what I've been calling, the quantum world, right? Where you see things from a higher perspective. Listen, animals don't have court of laws. They have challenges, they have fights, they have disagreements, there's conflict, but there's no court of law. They don't live with that anger and resentment for the rest of their lives. It happens in the moment. Even when their loved ones are lost, right? There are laws of nature, which we're going to get into. But you have to connect with your soul. You have to connect with your heart and soul through your intuition. I know this will happen when pigs will fly. Well, just so you know, I think I've already told you this was taken recently in space. It's a photograph of a pig flying. So it's all good. Now, we follow the yellow brick road. There's no place like home. And we're going to saper ord, dare to be wise. And I'll see you in the next episode.